Welcome back to day 2. Congratulations for coming back. Yesterday was about who you are. Today is about what you want and why it matters. We talked about identity. We talked about the stories we tell ourselves about who we are. And if you completed yesterday's worksheet, you have started to hold up a mirror to yourself. You started looking at your habits, your patterns, your actions, and maybe even some of the stories you've told yourself and that you've been carrying around for years. If you didn't do the work, stop the video and go back because it's really important, especially because every day builds on the day together. Okay, so please do that. Anyway, let's go. Awareness is always about the first step. Awareness by itself is great, but it doesn't really change anything. You can see the problem clearly, but you still stay exactly where you are. And that's why today is about clarity. Awareness helps you see. Clarity helps you decide. That's a good one. Write that one down. One more time. Awareness helps you see, and clarity helps you decide. I think that was worth repeating. I hope you wrote it down. So today, that's what we're going to focus on, is clarity. Clarity. Let's start with really just a simple question that I want to ask you guys. Have you ever found yourself saying, I'll start Monday. I'll start tomorrow. I'll do it later. Ooh, this little light's in the way. Most people have done that. The problem is that later doesn't come very often. One of my favorite sayings to my daughter has been in the past and is today, later never comes. Any moms out there who ask or tell their children to do something and they say, I'm going to do it later. I'm going to get to it, Mom. I'm going to do it later. Well, what happens? Do they ever get to it? Did later ever come? Maybe after a ton of badgering, but later was never happening. Most of us will commit to doing something in the future, but without a real plan. That thing that we said we would do, the perfect time to do it, well, that never came. And that is why I say later never comes. Every time we continue to have that internal debate, it drains our energy. Should I? Shouldn't I? Do I feel like it? Maybe tomorrow, maybe next week. Pretend you're in front of me just for a moment. It's me and you. We're here. We're together. Raise your hand if you've ever intended on doing something, but it never happened. Come on. Raise those hands. Later never came. Go ahead. Come on. Raise it. No judgment here. I'm driving this point home for a reason, because we want to change that awareness into clarity. And once you acknowledge that this is an issue, we can start working on it. But what if you have already decided? What if you already decided that you were a person who does what they say they're going to do? What if you had already decided that you were going to create different results? What if the debate was over? It was done. Would that not be freeing? Wouldn't it be nice to stop negotiating with yourself every day? I'm going to let that sit there for a moment. What if you were the person who decided they are a healthy person and living the life of a healthy person? You don't wake up every morning deciding, am I working out today or not? Am I living healthy? Should I be healthy today? Should I exercise today? Should I take care of myself today? Those things are not questions that, if you had decided you were a healthy person, already made the decision. The decision was made. You wake up The blueprint is ready to go. We don't need to rewrite it. We don't need to negotiate it. That's what clarity does. We stay stuck when we're not clear. I want you to think about that. Lots of things haven't happened in your life because you weren't clear. We spend so much energy on the internal debate that we keep repeating the same cycle over and over. And sometimes we make a little progress. But then a lot of times we fall back into old patterns. What I want for you to do is to get to the point where you no longer have that internal struggle on a daily basis. Once you've decided who you want to be and why, then you are headed for real change. I call these the 3 drivers of meaningful change. Not just me, all people in the personal development all say this. Who, what, and why. Who am I? What do I want? Why does it matter? When your identity, your what that we talked about yesterday, that awareness, and your why and your what all align, that's when you start to see things change. That's when behaviors change. That's when actions change. It's not easy, but easier, because your actions start supporting your goals instead of competing with them. Think about that. I want to give you an example from my own life, a quick story. Many years ago, I started a career in selling life insurance. I had no financial services background, zero. I was completely new to that industry. The company I worked for gave me a blueprint. They said, if you follow this process, you'll achieve a level called $1 Million Roundtable. It was called MDRT. They had the statistics. They had the system. They had the roadmap. My job was simply to follow it. So I became very clear on what I wanted. I wanted to achieve $1 Million Roundtable, MDRT. That was what I wanted. I wanted the income that MDRT would provide for me, but I also wanted something more. And I was told that if I made MDRT, this something more that I wanted would happen. And it was my very powerful why. And it was freedom. I wanted freedom. Freedom in how I worked, freedom in how I lived, freedom to be present for my family, freedom to build a life on my own terms. That was very, very important to me. It mattered to me in a very deep way. So when the work became difficult, and it did, I didn't have to keep negotiating with myself on a daily basis. That was what was clear. The why was clear. The what was clear. And my actions reflected both. Interestingly, when I think about that time, I saw myself as an MDRT producer. I did the things that MDR producers do. So I was identifying as that person long before I held that title. In my first 10 months, I achieved $1 Million Roundtable and became one of the top first-year agents in the company. It was a very small percentage of people that do that. Not because I was smarter than anybody else, not because I had special talent, well, maybe a little special here and there, but really, truthfully, it was because I was clear. Clear on what I wanted, clear on why it mattered, and I acted accordingly. I followed the plan. Now, let's bring this back to you, because it's not about me, it's about you. Maybe your goal has nothing to do with business. Maybe your goal is health. You want to be healthier. You want to look better. You want to feel better. Many people say, I want to be healthy. I want to be fit. And that is a great goal. Everybody should want to be healthy and fit. But it's not usually enough. It is important, but why do you want to be healthy? Do you want more energy? Do you want to be stronger? Do you want to avoid medications? Do you want to keep up with your kids or your grandkids? Do you want to remain independent as you get older? Do you want to stay mobile? Do you want to feel more confident? Do you want to look in the mirror and smile? The deeper your why becomes, the more powerful your commitment becomes. That's really good. Write that down. The deeper your why, the more powerful your commitment. When your identity, your what, and your why all align, your behavior begins to change. I want you to take that all in. Now, I want you to think back to yesterday's movie screen exercise. Do you remember that? If someone watched your day like a movie, you're up there watching you're watching the movie, but you're the star of the movie. Would your actions match the person you say you want to become, or the person that you are, but really the person you want to become? Would they see someone moving towards their goals, or would they see someone stuck in the cycle of, I'll do it later? Look at that movie right now. When you combine awareness with clarity, it is powerful. So let's focus on you now. Let's focus on what I want you to think about over the next 30 days. What are you actually working towards? What will move the needle for you in your life? Not 10 things, not 20 things. That will never happen. 1, maybe 2, maybe 3 things. Don't make it too complicated. Don't make it too hard. What do you want? Why does it matter? And is your why strong enough to help you follow through when motivation disappears? Now, when you think about that, because motivation comes and goes, it's not really steady. Motivation is kind of a fickle friend. It doesn't carry us through. Clarity lasts longer, much longer. So that's what we're working towards. In today's worksheet, I want you to identify those 1 to 3 things, goals you'd like to accomplish over the next 30 days. And then I want you to write down exactly why each one matters. Not the surface answer, not the quick, easy thing, but the real answer, the deeper answer. And if you're not sure, keep going. It's something called the 7 layers of why. Keep going until you get to the real why. Then I want you to identify the actions you need to take that support those goals or targets. And just as importantly, the behaviors that are getting in the way. That's a really important thing, because clarity isn't only about what you add, it's also about what you remove. And that's one where it might get a little hard for some of us. So when I talk about that, sometimes, progress requires saying no. I think it's hard to say no sometimes. It really is, especially us women. Sometimes it requires eliminating distractions. We have to put the phone down, turn off Netflix. Sometimes it requires letting go of commitments that no longer serve you. That's clarity as well. So take your time with today's worksheet. If the why is hard, keep asking why, keep going. Do 7 layers and I promise you'll get there. Think about your who, think about your what, think about your why. Do all of that, do day 1, day 2, because tomorrow we're going to take all of this clarity and awareness and we're going to turn it into structure. We're going to talk about how to build your day around what matters most, how to stop reacting and start being intentional, how to go from reactive to proactive, how to create a framework, a blueprint that supports the person you're becoming. So today was about deciding Tomorrow is about designing. So I'll see you. The next video drops Wednesday, 8 a.m. Eastern Time. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, comment. Let me know always what part of the video really speaks to you. You can click on to get the notifications to make sure that you don't miss out, and do the homework. And I will see you tomorrow at 8 a.m. And thank you for spending your time and trusting me. Have a good one.